Hello, Space Cadets, and welcome to Mueller Planetarium Astronomy at Home. This is Zach Thompson, Planetarium Coordinator at the University of Nebraska State Museum at Morrill Hall in Lincoln, Nebraska, wishing you all clear skies. Today we'll explore the planets we can see in the early evening and morning skies near the end of May. We'll be using our friend Stellarium. Look to the right of your screen where you'll see our Mercury buddy holding up the web address stellarium.org. Go there to download the desktop version of the software absolutely free. We begin facing to the west with the setting sun. Around dusk is when we can see two wonderful planets in a great pair in the sky. However, you want to make sure there's nothing obstructing your view, like this big tree right here or any other building for that matter. It really is going to steal the show. You don't want that. What we're going to do is get rid of the tree line, but still leave a horizon reference mark. Then you can more easily see Venus and Mercury here. Venus is the brightest because it's the closest planet to the Earth, and it also has an atmosphere thick with clouds that reflect a lot of sunlight. Mercury sometimes presents a challenge for observers because it's the closest planet to the Sun. In the sky, it's very close to our star, which means it sometimes gets lost in the glare from sunrise or sunset. There's not necessarily a great window to catch Mercury, unless you've got a great marker like Venus to direct you right to it, which is wonderful right now. This is for May 20th. The next day, on May 21st, watch how Mercury gets very close to Venus. If you've got binoculars, you'd be able to see the two definitely in the same field of view. Then the next evening, Mercury and Venus switch places. Venus, as the nights continue, starts heading lower into the sky, closer to the horizon, until it eventually sets from view. But by the end of this month, you've got a great shot of viewing Mercury and Venus. Just make sure you don't have that in the way, a pesky tree. Well, time keeps on moving, and we direct our attention to the southeast. We wait for the early morning hours. That's where we can see a great lineup of Jupiter, Saturn, and a little bit later, Mars, the red planet. Of these three planets, Jupiter is by far the brightest because it is the largest planet in the solar system. It's so big, more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside. So it sometimes does get mistaken for Venus because its brightness is close to Venus. Venus is the closest planet to us, which means that it will be brighter, but Jupiter is 500 million miles away. Its size is why it is still so bright, why it's still so visible. It's a gas giant, and sunlight is reflected off the clouds in the atmosphere of Jupiter in a way similar to why Venus is so bright. Here's how the three planets appear with just the naked eye. If you have binoculars and you aim at any of these objects, they'll all appear a little bit bigger and a little bit brighter. If you have a small telescope, it's even more that you'll be able to see because binoculars and telescopes allow you to collect more light. The more light you've got that you're collecting, the better the image, the greater the detail. Let's look at Jupiter first. If we have a small telescope, we can see some incredible features. First, let's get very close to Jupiter just to get a good view of what it has to offer for our observations. You see here this colorful stripe, several stripes in fact, these bands of gas in its atmosphere. Even closer, you see a moon of Jupiter casting a shadow on the surface of the planet. Over to the right, you'll see another one of Jupiter's large moons. There are 4 big bright moons that you can see of this planet. And it's best if you have a small telescope. This is a bit closer than what a small telescope would show you, so let's just back up. This is about what you'd see. Pretty good. You can still see those stripes, those bands of gas, definitely that moon. And here's the really fun thing when it comes to Jupiter and its moons. They change their position around the planet pretty much every day. As time goes by, you can really have fun making observations, making drawings of this gas giant and its moons. For example, here is one setup. The next morning, there's more moons. Then there's more. You see to the left that there are actually 2 moons. They're so close it looks like they're just a weird blob in the sky. But up to 4 moons you can see. And you see how they change every morning. This is an example of how everything in space is moving. Jupiter is like a mini solar system. With its gravity, it pulls on all the moons around it, keeping them in orbit. Just like the sun with its gravity keeps everything, all the planets in the solar system, in orbit around it. When you can see that for yourself in real time, it's an incredible experience. And that is again with a small telescope. We come back here and direct our attention to Saturn, the ring world now. As we did with Jupiter, let's get real close to check out some of the features. When you think of Saturn, you probably think of the rings by far. Really dominates this view. Researchers believe that a long time ago, an icy moon got too close to Saturn, and the planet's gravity ripped that moon to pieces. The ring system is the debris, the leftovers of that moon. If you'd like to see those rings for yourself, you must have at least a small telescope. That's because Saturn is farther away even than Jupiter is from us. So you must have an instrument that can collect more light. The more light, the better. This right here is about what a small telescope would give you. And that's not too bad either. It might not be as huge as we were just on it, but you'll still be able to see the ring system. Additionally, if you look below, you'll see Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Depending on when you're observing this planet, it might be here, it might be somewhere else, it might not even be visible at all, but if you see this other bright speck near Saturn, chances are you found Titan. So a small telescope can certainly give you a fantastic perspective, a different look at some of these planets. But don't, of course, forget Mars, the red world there. Binoculars, of course, bigger and brighter. Telescope, same deal. But it's also more red when you use something like a binoculars or a telescope. Now let's say you don't have any of those things. That's okay. If you really want to see Mars in all its red glory, just get an empty roll of toilet paper. Take that cardboard tube, aim it at Mars, cover your other eye. That tube will force your eye to focus just in this spot. It'll block out any distractions so your eye really can collect all that light and you really can see how red Mars truly is. There are a variety of ways to enjoy all these planets. There's no right or wrong way. Just choose the one that works best for you. Have clear dark skies and allow your eyes to adjust to the darkness. You'll be amazed at how much you can see. All you have to do is keep looking up Space Cadets, and we'll see you next time.